Welcome to Restaurant Executive Mastery, the podcast where you get to hear how top restaurant executives bring transformational changes to their business. He is John Shaw, speaker, executive, and life coach, entrepreneur, interfaith minister, former restaurant leader for over 25 years, and chocolate cake lover. His birthday was also a couple of days ago. And my name is Rev Ciencio, hospitality marketing consultant, influencer, former bar owner, and pizza fanatic.
This show was created to help restaurant executives master their mindset and find inspirational ways to change their business from the top to the bottom. We're showcasing top thinkers in our business and give tactical solutions and examples to help you move your needle.
And please welcome to the show, Ryan Rose, here joining us on the Restaurant Executive Mastery Podcast. Ryan is the CEO and president of Ohio-based Romeo's Pizza. They have 37 locations, maybe more now since I've done the research, in Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and even in Saudi Arabia.
Amazing.
What was that?
I was just saying amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Yep. God bless. It is amazing. It's more pizza places than I own. They've been named Best Pizza in Columbus 4 times, Best Pizza in the Midwest 3 times. They've been named Top 100 Pizza Chains and Best Gourmet Pizza in America. How about that? In 2013, Ryan became the franchise owner of a single unit, right? That was 2013. 12 years after the business had already been established. Based on his background in baking services and wild success in his single store, in 2015, the owner of the franchise asked Ryan to become the CEO, and in 2016, he acquired the entire company. Now, in only 60 days, right, Ryan was able to lead the company from an average online rating of 3.5 to 3.9. I love this story, right? Just by simply listening and responding to customers online. And with that, he was able to create successful predictability models for their stores. Now, imagine that. Right? If you know a single unit is going to succeed or simply fail based on customer feedback.
Amazing. Ryan, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you today.
I appreciate it, man. I'm pumped. Let's do this. Let's talk. Let's talk pizza and business. Good.
It sounds like my everyday. Ryan, I want to, can you tell us a little bit about this predictability model and how you use it and how it came about?
Yeah, so, Rev, obviously you're very familiar with this because you showed up in our Parma location kind of unannounced a couple of years ago, and we were like, who's this influencer coming in? And obviously with the Yext platform, it was something that we widely considered, and we realized that we had a non-centralized way of reviewing our reputation management, right? I think there's 100 different review platforms out there. And at the time we were around 33 or 34 stores. And so you're talking about 3,400 different ways that someone can talk about you on a daily basis. And we had no way to monitor that or measure it. We actually decided to go with the Yext platform for a centralized hub to manage all of those. And it really transformed our business. We didn't know what we were getting until it was in front of us. But I can tell you I'm a nerd by trade. Okay, so my background, I have a graduate degree in applied economics. So regression analysis was what my thesis was based on. And so when I started to see the data on the online reputation management, I looked at our chief brand officer, David McCafferty, and I said, oh, I can go to town on this. Let's see what we could do. And you're right, when we started and all the reviews were finally in one place, we realized that we had what I considered a very poor rating at a 3.4 for how good our product was. And within just a short amount of time, we started going back and answering reviews that we had never seen, apologizing for bad customer service, working with the franchisees in their markets, and then additionally, thanking people for taking the time to positively review us. As we started to do that, we started to see the scores tick up, just tick up. I mean, it was almost in a constant motion. And we leveled out at 3.9, and we started to realize through our partners at Yext and also some of our SEO specialists that a 3.9 starts to move the needle quite a bit on Google and starts to organically push you to the top. When we started to realize that, and we took the breakdown of each individual store, we developed a model, a predictive model, to basically say, if we can measure the trend of each store and their review ratings, we can predict what their next 6 months are going to look like from a positive growth or a negative growth. And it's a positive correlation from what they were doing. So if we saw a store going downhill, we increased operational attention, we increased communication, because we're trying to head off the opportunity for them to fail because maybe bad management, they took the eye off the ball. And furthermore, if they were going in the right direction, we started to talk to them about predicting increasing sales because more people were going to come to them with great product, service, and image. And we still do it to this day. We watch it like a hawk. We answer 93% of all reviews that come in to the platform. We now have one person completely dedicated to the platform and 3 of them with very heavy working knowledge on it. And it's really, really been a game changer. And not only that, when we introduce this to franchise prospects and we're able to take that headache away and be able to serve them that, it's a game changer. It's phenomenal.
So powerful. So in such a short period of time, first of all, the science and your background is really fascinating. I don't think we've had anyone on the show with that sort of scientific measurement analysis kind of mindset, which is powerful. But how did you, at a management level, create such massive change in a short period of time and harness all the resources across both operations and also the marketing team? You know, was there like a massive action task force? How did you generate that fast transformational change in such a short period of time?
Well, it was an overnight sensation that took a couple of years to do. And so
don't they all?
They all do, right? And basically what happened is when we acquired the brand from the founder on October 1st of 2016, my first key hire, once I had the full keys to the car, because if you're the CEO, you're still not the top dog. You're never the top dog unless there's the ownership and you have that ownership. And when we bought it, I was able to strip it down, and I broke everything down except the product. And an interesting story is my first hire was my chief brand officer, David McCafferty, and Rev, you've met David.
Great guy.
Yeah, and his strategy in his mind matched my analytical drive, right? So my analytics would go in and say this, 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 and this. And he would come back and paint a picture of the strategy to execute it. So what we did was we actually, he was hired in December of 2016 as the chief brand officer. And for 2017, we did nothing externally. In fact, we didn't even market ourselves for the first 6 months of 2017.
Wow.
Because I did not want to throw marketing behind something that I wasn't sure was ready to go to market, right? I just wanted the natural customer base to order, for them to take care of that. And we took those 6 months just drilling down and saying, this photo does not represent our brand. In fact, in my first meeting, my first interview with David McCafferty, my chief brand officer, I left him with an assignment. And I said, if you want to meet again, here's what I need to see. You tell me, based on our product, how our brand ranks. How does the brand integrity match the product integrity? And he came back about a week later with a full presentation on where the brand integrity was lacking. Okay, so his mind was working. When he came back with that presentation, I think within about 10 minutes, I looked at him and said, I'm pretty sure I can't afford your talent, but I'd love to have you. What can we do? Right place, right time, right people. He joined, he understood the vision that we were trying to create, and he went to town. We stripped it all down. Here's the thing that people don't understand. Trying to fix something that's partially broken is very, very difficult. But if you're able to just strip it all down and start from scratch, you can actually get ahead much further, much faster. And, you know, we didn't engage with Yext. If you think about it, we took pretty much all of 2017 off. We didn't start engaging with Yext until the fourth quarter of 2017, and we finally signed our contract in April of 2018. So all the work and the analytics and all that kind of stuff had happened. And then when we finally had the data that the platform was providing us, the implementation of our ideas was very, very fast. That's how it worked.
So
And it's been phenomenal.
God bless. So without turning this into a commercial for Yext,
No.
and I work there, and I'm an advocate, and I
Yeah.
for sure. Do you think this way about everything that you're working on in the brand? Like, do you apply this type of thinking to which tomatoes you use, to how you manage employees, to how you choose which machines are going to make the dough? Like, does it work all across the board?
Yes. It does. In fact, it goes down into individual store. We own 7 corporate stores in our portfolio. I'll give you a small example. Last night, we just acquired our 7th one on July 13th. So I've been monitoring, and it was an existing store. So in the month leading up to it, I was monitoring through our POS system the amount of voids and comps that they were doing every day, right? And it's one of those things that someone won't really think is important. They'll just go, oh, we had to void something, we had to comp something, whatever it may be. But small things that happen often can lead to really big problems. And it's a predictability, right? If you're seeing voids and comps go up on a daily basis, you can assume that we're not providing the best customer service, or our product is suffering in that particular location. So do we have an operational problem? Do we have a service problem? Do we have a lack of driver problem? And last night, one of our high performing corporate stores, our general manager is actually assisting the Florida market right now. So he's been gone. This is his 2nd week. So I've been keeping a close eye on that particular store to see how they react when their leader is not there. And last night they had 9 total comps and voids for a total of $130. Well, we have a 1% void and comp ratio for the week. So if a store does $15,000, their void and comp budget is $150 for the week, because we understand mistakes happen. Pizza mistakes happen. You put the wrong topping. Someone doesn't come and pick it up. I get that part. But the fact is that that store had already met their weekly allowance on Tuesday.
Wow.
So what's the problem, right? And so I reached out to one of our operations leaders who oversees, and then there's someone under, and I reached out to both of them through Microsoft Teams, which is a great place to communicate. And I said, what are we looking at here? And because we've established that culture, they said, yeah, it's a little bit out of whack. And it was 9 o'clock when I was looking at this. And they said, we're going to reach out first thing in the morning to find out what happened. And this morning, there was feedback. It was a POS issue. They had to delete. They were testing something. They had an explanation for all of them. So we knew that they weren't suffering from the lack of their general manager not being there for week number 2. So that's how granular we can get with predictability, as long as you understand what variables are going to lead to the greatest impact. And I happen to think voids and comps are one of them for the individual pizza operations.
Amazing. That brings to mind the concept of the butterfly effect and sensitive dependence on initial conditions. This is an exact example of that, right? That small variances, small challenges can get very large over time. So using some physics as well in your mathematics, high level mathematics in your calculations. It's very, very elegant. Very
well.
Very
And I mean, you can go when we're doing new store build outs and we're assisting franchisees. I mean, we actually count the steps in between the walk-in and the fresh dough that we make, because we're trying, like now we make an independent dough room because we make all of our dough fresh every day in every location. So we're putting that now next to the cooler, right? Because it has to be gone in, because depending on humidity in the store, depending on whether or not it's winter or summer, we adjust our yeast in our packages to add to the dough based on the season of the year. Because when it's hotter, less yeast. When it's colder, more yeast. So we do those dough packets. We count the steps, so there is limited exposure to the elements from the time that dough is wrapped till the time it gets into the cooler, to the point where we've even added second doors on coolers to get it in faster. And we just think that the discipline of all of these things will lead to the discipline of running a very good store and really putting our best foot forward. I can go on and on. I'm a nerd
Powerful.
when it comes to this
Powerful.
stuff.
It's like the most mathematically correct pizza business ever.
I'm hoping. I got to leave my mark somewhere.
I mean, I think that's an incredible discipline, and John and I are big fans of being your own discipliner, right? Not waiting for other people to give you discipline, but to have yours. How do you teach discipline? Like, how do you get adoption for discipline down to the delivery order person? Like, how do you get that throughout the entire business?
Leadership, and setting expectations on the way in. So as you guys know, you've been in the restaurant industry and I'm a long time, longer than me. And you've probably seen restaurants where the culture is just bad, right? You've seen the people doing things they shouldn't be doing, right? And then that kind of snowballs into hiring the next person, and then that's what they look at. So there's a lot of change from a culture perspective at the top and getting people that I trusted. So one of our operations leaders just came on in February because I thought that there was a significant gap in our operations compared to the rest of our business. I just was feeling it. I was seeing it. I didn't see enough discipline. And this particular individual, he's got a ton of pizza experience, and he's actually just been a personal friend of mine for 8 years. A personal friend. And we talk all the time. And he happened to mention something to me as, hey, I'm looking for a new opportunity. Do you have anybody that you can refer me to for a new opportunity in the restaurant world? And I left that meeting. And about 3 days later, I just kept on thinking about it and thinking about it. And finally, I called him and said, hey, can we meet? And it was out of the blue. I asked him if we could meet. And an hour later, we were sitting there and he's like, so what's up? And I'm like, I need you. And I can tell you that I told him, I tried to explain it to him. Look, there's a miscommunication within the operations department right now. I need you to come in as a liaison, basically between point A and point B. And I need to see if you can connect the dots. That's what I need to see. And specifically, it was in our corporate store environment. And so if I could tell you that in the first quarter, so he started with me on January 20th. And so he came partway in the first quarter, right? He made a big impact. So March 31st, we definitely saw some profitability in our corporate stores. And I'll share with you. So our corporate store portfolio, I think the net profit was $60,000 in the first quarter, which is fine. We were paying bills. Everybody was getting a couple bonuses here and there. We were doing good things. The second quarter, the full second quarter that ended on June 28th for us, I think that was the Sunday because we go on 13-week periods. That same group of stores made $160,000 in net profit.
Wow. During the pandemic.
One quarter.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And that was because I brought the right person in that already believed in discipline. He started hiring his people and started changing the culture. So I'd love to tell you that discipline can be treated to anybody, but it can't. It has to be adopted or a belief of the right person. And then you just got to find that person to put on the team. And then they're going to find more people to put on the team. And it's a ripple effect.
And also the challenge that I've experienced is creating a balance between having discipline, but also not squashing people and creating and having people be inspired and energetic and joyful and enjoying their work, right? That you can simultaneously have both. That's really an art to create that balance.
Yeah, John, who I'm speaking about specifically, he has such a way to develop relationships with people where they feel like they're part of something. And the other thing that we do from a tangible aspect, as opposed to the intangible that you're referring to, like the feeling part, our tangible aspect in our corporate environment is to reinvest in our people first, and profit will follow at some point. We're not worried about that. But for instance, we have group benefits within our corporate store environment. So our general managers are paid a base salary, and then they get profit sharing So we carve out 10% of all of our profits in the corporate store environment, and they're eligible for that bonus pool for the quarter. We pay it out on a quarterly basis. And on top of that, they get paid vacation and they get benefits. And because our store started to do really well last year, and we knew we were going into this year, we now pay 75% of our benefits premium for our employees that are enrolled. And to tell you the truth, we've done so well this year. Don't tell anybody. I know this is being broadcast, but if things keep on going the way that they are in the growth, we're going to look to pay 100%.
Wow, amazing.
And so, when you do that, they know that's the tangible part about caring about them as a human being, is giving them the things that they're not going to get somewhere else. And you guys know how cutthroat and difficult the restaurant industry is. So when you get talent, you got to protect it and retain it.
Incredible. I mean, the fact that you're able to increase your profit margin so substantially during the pandemic is amazing. So just
we're up 33% same store sales during the pandemic over last year.
And so what do you attribute that to?
We were ready to accept the business because of all the platforms and the investments we had made over the past 3.5 years. And we were actually having double-digit same-store sales growth in 18 and 19 already. We were hovering somewhere between 9 and 12%, and we were having record years. But all the foundation we had put into place allowed us to receive the business when the pandemic hit. And we were able to not only receive it, but retain it because we created capacity before it was there. And hey, Rev, I got to correct you on one thing on my intro. We opened up store number 41 last Friday, and we're opening up store 42 next Monday.
Wow.
And we are in Saudi Arabia, as you mentioned, and just a little forefront because these deals are signed. We signed a 40 store licensing agreement in Nigeria.
Wow.
Okay. In Lagos specifically. So we're working on the front end of that. We've signed a 30 store area representative agreement for the Youngstown and Pittsburgh market. And we have over 150 units through various AR arrangements that are currently in discussion and negotiation right now. That's how fast this thing has taken off.
Wow, that's amazing.
Incredible.
It's incomprehensible, really. So now I'm trying to find more C-level talent so that they can make the company better.
I feel like you'll get there.
Yes,
I'm trying.
So, just one more question, and then we'll change on the pandemic and your responses to the pandemic. So, what kind of I think pizza number one right now is it's a good place, it's a good space to be in, right? Because it's already a broadly based delivery product that travels well, right? So did you move to 100% delivery, I'm assuming, during the first few months? No,
we still have takeout.
Okay, so takeout and delivery has been operational throughout?
Yep. Now, some of our franchisees chose to close down their lobbies and lock them up, and basically the customer would text them, and then when they got there, they would come out and deliver it to the car. Some of our franchisees went to credit only, not accepting cash. And we didn't. Governor DeWine here in Ohio did a very good job on the front end of the COVID and getting ahead of the curve. But you're right, pizza was ready, right? I mean, pizza is one of the delivery foods that people have trusted for years, since Pizza Hut was invented back in the 50s. So it's been around a long time. And with the COVID, what we did was we were very sympathetic to all of our franchisees and how their independent employees felt. And we encouraged them to listen to their employees and what made them feel safe, especially in the very beginning when the direction was all over the place. You should wear a mask. You shouldn't wear a mask. You should wear gloves to make everything. You should put up this. You should lock your doors. And we worked with them hand in hand to make sure that they were listening to their employees first, to whatever was going to make them feel safest. And we had it all over the board. Everybody felt different. I mean, I had some that I'm intimately involved with on the corporate location and my independent location. There wasn't a bit of fear whatsoever. They just didn't think much of it. And they just went about business as usual. And I can tell you that within our system, which is roughly about 700 employees, you know, both franchise and corporate, we've only had 2 cases of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, we did the sanitizer, we did the hand washing, the sanitization of stations more frequently. You know, the face coverings, a lot of us were doing face coverings before it was a government mandate. We did the plastic shields and put them up. I mean, any layer that we could add to make our employees feel as safe as possible first, then the customers would feel safe. We did. So, and I sit on the Ohio Restaurant Association board. And so I had direct contact with the governor's office through that association. We still do have weekly phone calls with the governor's office on what's going on. So I had a little bit of, I guess, inside knowledge, if you will, participated in recommendations for the state and how we could make everybody as safe as possible. And it worked very well.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, I didn't even want to call that a pivot. I think that's just being in your lane. That's awesome.
Yes, exactly.
That's right.
All right, we kind of started. We've been dancing around this subject, and I want to change the view here a little bit.
Sure.
Romeo's as a brand even celebrates their customers, right? We've been talking about your employees and your staff and whatnot. You guys celebrate your customers. You shared that, you know, your favorite store level customer reviews online. If somebody goes and looks at your social media, they can see you actually sharing reviews from what your customers have to say about you. What are the effects of celebrating those moments in and out of the store?
On the customer base or on our corporate team base?
You take the question where you want it here, buddy. There's a lot of places I know you'll go.
Yeah, I think that people want to be part of a community in general. They just do. And I think that's been one of the most difficult things about the pandemic is they're telling you to not be around people, but to still try and stay connected, which Zoom, the platform that we're on right now, is a fantastic way to do it. And in fact, you know, like my best friend from college and I, we haven't talked all the time, but we're still super close. We now have a bi-weekly Zoom call where we just catch up. We'll be on our computer working and we'll just talk about football, right? So people want to be connected. And, you know, we have a mantra in our organization, Pizza Connects. And we feel that when we share individual stories that it creates more of a community feeling. And we like to consider ourselves a lifestyle brand. You know, Domino's likes to consider themselves a technology brand. We like to consider ourselves a lifestyle brand that just happens to serve really good pizza. And so we feel that sharing those reviews is a positive for the Romeo's community of customers, right? Look at this experience. We also believe that it can encourage other people to voice their opinion, good or bad. That's the thing. We take bad opinions too. We say we're sorry. First thing we do, we're sorry. We didn't meet expectations. That certainly wasn't our intent. You know, I think it provides really good benefit for our vendors because I think they take a lot of pride in it. And I believe that's another connection where Romeo's is the hub and you have your Hunger Rushes and your Yex partners and your RDP and your food distributors. And if they're following you on social media, they have a little bit of pride in every piece of that. And it creates more of that, if you will, community connection than maybe a competitor of ours would. So we get excited about it.
That's awesome.
So awesome. Yes. I wanted to ask, your story is incredible that you went in such a brief period of time from running one unit to being the CEO. And I just love to hear how you made that incredible transition and some of your key leadership strategies along the way.
Well, my first Romeo's was in March of 2013, and that's when I put on the jeans and the t-shirt and I left my day job. And I was the chief operating officer of a financial services company. Mm-hmm. So from a leadership perspective, the jump from COO to CEO wasn't that big, so to speak. I had already had strategic planning. I'd had experience in developing teams, et cetera, et cetera.
Was that the plan the whole way, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No. You want to hear what my mom said when I called her and I told her, I said, Mom, I'm leaving my job in financial services. I'm going to become the CEO of Romeo's Pizza. And she goes, "You're going to make pizzas?" I said, Ma, I said, it's a little bit bigger than that. And she's like, well, I just don't understand. Like, why, she didn't get it. And what I did when I came in as CEO from the after the first single unit, I actually acquired a second and a third unit in 2014 as a franchisee. And it was in December that I acquired the third unit. And then later that month, the CEO had asked me, based on my success as a franchisee and my COO skill set, if I would want to become the CEO of the brand. So I came in, and probably about for the first 3 months, I don't want to say I didn't say much, but I kind of didn't say much. I just went out and visited every store. I understood the differences in the processes, really evaluated the corporate staff, was it the right people in the right seat at the right time, made a lot of turnover in there. I think when I came on, there were 11 people. By the time I was done, there were only 2 left standing. So, parted ways amicably, severances, et cetera, did the right things by them, but they just weren't going to be part of the long-term plan. It's interesting. My minor, and my minor was in philosophy. And so a lot of what I do is more philosophical. If I see 100 people going right, I'm trying to figure out what's better on the left.
Right.
And not in a negative way, not in a defiant way, just in a curiosity way. Like, is that the better path? And so I often tell, as I've matured in my roles and continue to go through coaching and life coaching, I'm a huge fan of Bruce Lee, more the teacher. And one of my daily routines is to visualize being the water in the river, not the rocks at the bottom, because the water always gets to go where it wants to go. And the rocks never move, right? And so every morning I spend a little bit of time focusing on how I'm going to be the water through the day. I also make myself available. The CEO is the least important job in my organization. It really is. And it's because everybody else has the skill set to do what they do. I manage everything, but I micromanage nothing. I always have an idea of what that line of business within the company is doing. We manage it through project management sets. We set goals for each other. But one of my goals is to have a fairly empty calendar. So if any of my leadership needs me, I'm there. Whether it's a phone call, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a Zoom meeting, whether it's a store visit. And I believe that having that availability for them and taking time to coach and develop, even if it's in the car for a little bit, is so worthwhile. And also giving them the autonomy and independence to make decisions, because we have such a solid foundation that no one decision that they are going to make, unless it's unethical, that's off the table. Ethics has to be at the top of the list, is going to affect the brand so negatively that we can't fix it and use it as a learning experience.
Powerful. And so you're coaching, you see almost your principal job as the CEO is to be kind of a head coach, right, for the leadership team. Is that where you see it? Very nice.
Absolutely. I'm not very good at game planning on paper. In fact, I'm not a good paper person at all. I don't like paper. But the people that I work with and that I support certainly are so diligent, and they want to be great, that's my job, is to make them be great. I'm going to be measured at the end of the day. I believe that I'll be measured on how many successful people come out of the coaching tree, right? Yes. I mean, me, I'm fine. My lifestyle honestly hasn't changed in 15 years. I live in the same house. I drive the same range of car.
Mhm.
You know, I drive what I like. I spend most of my time with my wife and my dog. And we enjoy the hell out of our lives because the most invaluable thing that my team can give me is time. That's it. And it's whether it's time to think, whether it's time to spend with my wife or my mom or my dog. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. So it's a prioritization and evaluation of yourself and knowing. To me personally, I'm a little bit odd when it comes to this, and everybody else can have the glory from it. I'm good having the glory through their glory.
So couple of questions. What are do you have a clarified set of core values and a mission purpose statement that becomes your guiding principle? As a philosophy student, I also study philosophy. Is there being a principle driven leader and principle driven organization, what are some of those values that are really core to your mission and purpose?
Well, I think that for me personally, they're a little bit different than the organization, even though it bleeds through. I still got you guys? Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Even though mine bleeds through into the culture, and I think you guys know that, having led restaurants and organizations.
Of course.
You know, if we look at our core values from an institution standpoint, we have them: product integrity, brand integrity, operational excellence, customer satisfaction, and teamwork. And each of those obviously can drive down a lot into their system. The good thing about our core values, we established those. It took us about 3 months to establish those, and we probably started with 45 of them on a board with a team, right? What does it mean to you? And then once we narrowed it down, we really drove down and said, what does this mean? Here's the thing. This is the best part of those core values. Still to this day, 3.5 years later, when we make a decision to partner with a franchisee, partner with an area representative, partner with a vendor, they have to hit all 5 of those core values with a number of us on the leadership team to become our partner. And the second that those, and they have to hit all 5. And it can't be, well, I don't know if they're going to be good at brand integrity. These are no brainers. Yes, 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 yes. You can be our partner. And the great thing about it is when we bring on partners, whether it's vendors or SEO strategy, whatever it is, we explain these core values to them. This is what you're being hired for right here. And if at any point in the process we see a fracture in these, you will be let go on the spot. That's the deal. And we've actually terminated about 6 relationships based on that. Wow. Because they got the business and then something happened 7 or 8 months down the road, leadership changed, our project manager, whatever it was, we made the decision like that. And then we call it and they'd be like, well, why? Hey, we told you up front, this is how it is. As far as a personal philosophy, I've got one cardinal rule. I'm very socially liberal. I'm very fiscally conservative. So it's in that libertarian balance. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. Be the best you that you want to feel. That's all I care about. But at the end of the day, you just have to be a good person. That's it. And if you don't meet that criteria, you got to go. And that's how we built our team. It's pretty simple, not rocket science.
Right.
But it is a hardcore belief, and that's the difference.
Yeah. So the willingness to have discipline around your core values and to practice what you preach, to live what you teach, and to embody it, and to be willing to make hard decisions when that's not the case.
That's
Very
right.
Powerful. Yes.
Yeah. And I truly believe I do the analysis, of course. I measure what I make, and I take the average hourly employee in our system. I make sure that ratio is not too far out of line at any means. I know you guys have probably read articles where, CEOs will make I think Disney's CEO made 1,547 times the amount of the average hourly worker who couldn't even afford to put food on the table for their family. And of course, that's a huge company, but I always make sure that mine is relative. Mine is very relative. And now that's on Romeo's. Of course, I have other business interests that generate, but as far as Romeo's is concerned, I always make sure that that is in the realm of acceptability to me as a person, because of how I grew up and the humble means that I grew up. I never wanted that to get too far out of whack. So that's also something I take into consideration to make sure they have what they need.
That's very powerful. That's a huge part of what's driving your success, I'm sure.
I think so. I want to think so.
Man, it's no wonder that people want to be a part of your organization. I want to be part of your organization.
Yes.
It's good. It's fun, man. Everybody has a good time. I dressed up today. I wore jeans.
Nice.
You got a Hawaiian.
Usually I'm in shorts.
You can't see mine, but mine's a Hawaiian shirt covered in dinosaurs. So,
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So this has been a lot of really good business speak and really a master class on how to think about core values and discipline. Now, I want to bring it to a different area. I know you're super proud of the product that Romeo serves, especially the sauce. In fact, the first time I had it, my comment to you indeed was about the sauce. So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't give you an inroad to talk about the pizza sauce and the investments you make in quality here. Yeah.
So the pizza sauce obviously is our differentiating factor. In my opinion, that and all the freshness, but the sauce really is what makes it, right? I'll be the first to tell you, our dough recipe, you could probably go find on YouTube somewhere, right? It's dough. We use a high gluten flour, but we've taken out the bromate. I'd also like to talk about our sustainability initiatives, which is very important to us. I'll talk about that right after the sauce. But we use a partner for our sauce, and our tomatoes are grown in Modesto, California, the deserts of Modesto, California, which is a phenomenal growing area. We've been part of the harvest process. We have a sweeter sauce, Rev, as you probably remember. And a lot of people will be like, oh, you put sugar in it, don't you? I'm like, no, we actually don't. It's the type of tomato that it's grown from. It's proprietary. A funny story about the sauce is I had purchased the company in October of 2016, and I went on the farm tour in late August of 2018. And as we are literally going through the tour, I look at our, one of the very high ups at the sauce company, and I go, it just struck me. I don't even know what our sauce formula is. I said, I don't even know like what goes into it. And they're an old school sauce company. So they faxed me the recipe, handwritten, faxed it to me. And I took it and I put it somewhere safe. And I'm like, oh, that one's probably an important one. But no, our tomatoes are grown. Our partner uses the best farmers they can find, the best land that they can find. They grow. And then what happens is over a process of 75 days, they harvest all the tomatoes that they're going to use for all of their clients. Ours are grown in a specific area with a specific tomato to get the natural sweetness out of it, which is the base of our sauce. They harvest ours. Within 10 hours of harvesting them and putting them in the truck, they only use 35% of the tomatoes that they harvest. 65% don't make the quality level of that they've set for us.
Wow.
So they use 35%, and they manage to take from the farm into the operations to final canning in 10 hours for the entire year's product.
Wow.
That's how fresh it is when it's canned.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's brilliant.
Incredible.
I do, just before we go on, I wanted to talk about sustainability. So as I said, I'm socially liberal, and I believe in protecting our planet. And something that I was very uncomfortable with, it was our containers for our appetizers and subs, et cetera, et cetera. And so last year we were able to work with a vendor, and we were able to get specialized packaging, not specialized, but customized for us. And when we initiated it, we eliminated 750,000 pieces of plastic a year from the environment.
Wow.
that was probably our biggest success, in my opinion, to be a good steward of the earth that was given to us. And I'm really a huge fan of that. We've also moved because I believe that when people choose Romeo's, they're choosing to invest their money into an experience, whether or not it's a birthday, soccer game, Sunday football, whatever it may be, right? We're part of the centerpiece of that experience. And so we've taken bromate out of all of our flour. We've added cauliflower crust, which is a healthier alternative for people that want to go that way. We are also looking to put extra water filtration systems into our stores in order to remove as many toxins from the tap water as possible. That's not yet implemented, but that's on our goal sheet, and we've tested it. So we are going to continue to be the most responsible brand we can be for our customers. And it may not be anything that they ever notice, but we believe that they will subconsciously notice it, and it'll be great stories to tell that we're responsible with what we do and how important our customers are to us.
That's so powerful, Ryan, to be a principles-driven organization with mission and purpose, with higher purpose, right? To save the planet, to help the planet for future generations. I think Rev and I believe that when you're coming from that purpose-driven place, people feel it. It magnetizes your company. It attracts employees and customers, and it's contributing to your success. So we love to be able to talk to people who are operating from that higher purpose, principle-driven place. So thank you for exemplifying that. That's amazing.
I appreciate it, man. I love talking about it. This is the fun stuff.
Yes.
Pizza's good. The pizza's great, but this is the fun stuff.
Core values is better than pizza, or from core values comes great pizza.
That's right. That's a good one. That's a good one.
You could take it. Ryan, I'm so glad we had you on the show. I knew this was going to be an incredible conversation, and I hope
it was fulfilling, man. It was fulfilling for me. So
fantastic.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. But you're not off the hook. We do have a final question.
Okay.
And this is usually the zinger. So what is something you ate recently that was awesome?
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy. I have the palate of a 5-year-old, Rev. A 5-year-old.
It's like what I have, so you're good.
Yeah. Chicken fingers and peanut butter and jelly. I could live off of it. I'm trying to think. You know what? Actually, my father-in-law is a butcher, and they opened up a butcher shop here recently, and it's doing phenomenal. He's so experienced. And my wife was craving steak. And I hadn't had a steak in a long time. I'm not a huge steak guy. And we made a filet mignon and we made it over charcoal, which I've just started to cook on. I used to cook on gas, and now I'm cooking on charcoal. And it was mouthwatering. It melted. So that was really good. But other than that, my bowl of cereal this morning was really good. My apple, my peanut butter and jelly, I'm good.
Awesome.
Awesome, Ryan. Thank you for the show. Well, listen, for everybody that's listening, if you want more conversations and insights, you can join our private Facebook group at bit.ly/restmast. That's bit.ly/restmast, where you can network with other people like us, have inside discussions, get your questions answered.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you, Ryan, for an amazing conversation. If you all really enjoy the show, can you please share this episode with a friend who might also find it helpful? And if you really, really enjoy the show, we would ask one favor, and that's please give us a rating on iTunes. That helps to spread the word to others who might find this content valuable just like you do.
And if you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please hit subscribe on your favorite podcast player so you don't miss a future episode featuring helpful tips from other professionals like Ryan here in the food marketing business. Everybody make it a great, tasty day.